Hey there, my name is Kevin Johns. I'm a friend of Andre's, and he and I had some trouble connecting. He wanted to do a little interview with me for your guys' group, and we were having some real trouble getting connected. I'm in Canada, he's in England, and anyway, we decided to do a video, thought it might be better for you. So, as a little background on me, I'm a fiction author. I'm a nonfiction author of writing instructional books, and I work as a writing coach. So needless to say, I could go on about this stuff forever. I love all these questions about writing, about the craft, and about how we can do our best work as writers. But I'm going to try to make this video interesting, but not too long for you. I'll try to stick to the point. And if you have any questions or anything about any of the stuff I mentioned, just let me know, and we can dive in deeper with it for sure. So the first question Andre hit me with was getting in the mood. So share favorite tactics for getting going even when you're not in the mood. All right, so this is my take on this one, guys. I get this question a lot about mood or motivation or inspiration, all of that sort of thing. And my take on all of it is, personally, what I do with my own writing and what I recommend for my writing clients is don't rely on mood, don't rely on inspiration. Make your writing a habit. Think of it as brushing your teeth. You brush your teeth every night, right, before you go to bed, and probably in the morning too, and you don't get inspired to do it, or you don't have to be in the mood to brush your teeth. It's just part of your regular habit. You just do it every day, and that's the vibe you want to get into with your writing, is that you're not waiting for these moments of inspiration. You're not waiting for the right mood to hit you. You just have a writing plan, a schedule, and you stick to it. So if you know that you're going to write Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 in the morning till 10, that's your little writing time. If you do that long enough, a month or two, it just becomes a habit. It becomes second nature. And when you sit down to write, your body will automatically switch into writing mode because it knows, oh, it's Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock. This is when I do my writing. And so that's how you can kind of put all that inspiration and mood stuff aside and really just focus on getting into that rhythm. Uh-oh, my slide's not working. There we go. Next up, planning. And you'll probably hear a lot of this in this video. I'm a big proponent of planning your story, your novel, and also planning your scenes, which is why I put it in here. And because I think when you sit down to write, especially if you're not in the mood, you need to know what needs to get written that day. So if you've planned your scene ahead of time and you know where the story needs to get to in that chapter or in that writing session, it's going to make breaking through the resistance or the not in the mood feeling a lot easier. Okay, so writing becomes a process of Monday morning or Wednesday, whatever we said, Wednesday morning, 8 o'clock, I know it's writing time. I sit down to write, and I know that because I wrote chapter 3 yesterday and it ended here, today it's time to write chapter 4, and this is what needs to happen in the scene, and this is where the story needs to go. So I know it's not as fun or as magical as you might think of writing, but it's work. It's that workman-like approach to actually getting a novel done, because if you're only going to work on your novel when you're in the mood, you're never going to get that puppy written, because it's a long process and it's a lot of work. Okay, the next question was making time. Tips for creating time and space to write. Now, I have a hour-long presentation on this exact topic, so I could go on forever, but I'll kind of go into some of the Cliff Notes stuff here and kind of give you, 3 or 4 of my main tips for finding the time to write. So first off, you have to make sacrifices. People think, I need to find more time to write, but I also want to watch Game of Thrones every night, or, go out for drinks with my friends after work. The way you find the time to do the things that you want to achieve in your life, in this case, writing or writing a novel, You make sacrifices. You don't watch TV. You don't go out for drinks with your friends. You have some other hobby. You put that on that hobby on hold for a couple months, and you work on your writing. So, you know, it'd be wonderful if there was some magic wand you could wave and suddenly there were more hours in a day. That doesn't happen. So we need to look at the time that we have and use it more effectively. I recommend doing a time journal for a period of time, say a week, and keep track of where you are using your time, where there might be windows of opportunity to get some writing done, and also just look at what is going to be sacrificed, because that's the reality of success in this world. You can't have it all. And writing is a very time-consuming process. So if you want to write a book, especially, you are going to have to let some other things go in your life. Okay, next up, non-negotiable time. So too many of us say, well, I'm going to do my writing when I have a chance, or when I'm in the mood, when I'm inspired. You know, instead, the way you use your time effectively is you create non-negotiable time. And this is something you communicate to your friends, to your family, to your coworkers if you have to your spouse. So you say Wednesdays from 8 in the morning till 10 o'clock, is my writing time. And that's not negotiable time. That's not, oh, can you stop writing and go grab some food from the grocery store that we need, or this or that, you know. Creating these pockets of time in your schedule that you and all the people you interact with know is non-negotiable. It's your block of writing time. And it doesn't have to be every day. You know, it depends on how much time you have available to you and how many sacrifices you're willing to make. But, you know, if you're going to get some serious writing done, you'll need to have some non-negotiable writing blocks of time in your schedule. Accountability can be huge, whether it's a writing coach or whether it's a writing group that you attend every second week, whether it's a friend who's you know, you're talking about who's also writing, maybe a writing friend, or family or fans. You know, once you have books out, there's going to be people waiting for your next book, or it might be your agent, or you know, a contract. If you have a writing contract with a publisher, these are all things that hold you accountable for being productive, for producing work. So if you don't have something like a writing contract already, create accountability for yourself. You know, find those people, be it a coach or be it a writing group like you guys are in now or whatever, and make sure those people hold you accountable. You know, tell them what it is you want to achieve and the timeline you want to achieve it in, and then have them hold you accountable, because there's a big difference between saying, you know, I really want to write 1,000 words this week, and saying to a group of people, when I come to my next meeting, I'm going to have written 1,000 words. Because suddenly you feel like you're not just letting yourself down, you're letting them down. And so accountability can be huge for keeping you on track. And I think the most important thing of all is having an established schedule. And I put insert fancy equation here because I'm terrible at math, and I was going to do the actual equation, but I couldn't figure it out. So anyway, I'll just talk you guys through it. What you do is you develop a schedule based on the deadline for your project, your total word count, and the number of writing days you have available. And so if you want to write a 50,000 word novel, and you have 6 months to write it, so you then figure out, oh, that means I need to write, you know, 700 words a day for the next 6 months or something. And then you say, oh, but my writing schedule doesn't allow writing every single day. It only allows writing 3 days a week. So then you do the math and, okay, I can't write 700 words every day, but that means I'll need to write 2,000 words in those 3 days that I have to write each week. So using that fancy equation, if that made any sense to you, you develop a writing schedule that says, okay, from now until 6 months from now, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I am going to have a non-negotiable writing... Sorry, my daughter wants to put in an appearance here. Okay, honey, I'm recording a video, so you can't interrupt, okay? All right, head upstairs. Hey. Thanks, babe. Daddy. Okay, head upstairs, baby. Wave to the camera, say hi, everyone, and then head upstairs. Thank you, honey. Non-negotiable time, right? So you develop that schedule, and so everything becomes about habit, about schedule, and about are you meeting your word count goals for that day? Because if you know you need to write 2,000 words in those 3 writing days that you have in a week, and you miss a day, you either need to add 4,000 words, write twice as many words that next day to catch up, or you need to push out your deadline. Okay, so it's a very easy way to stay on track and to actually monitor if you're making progress and moving along the path that you want to be on in terms of achieving your publication date. Sorry, my daughter interrupted. I don't know if that made any sense. I might have lost, but hopefully you guys get what I'm getting at there. Okay, under 10 minutes. Share favorite writing exercises that take 10 minutes or less. Brainstorming, mind mapping, right? I mean, if you don't have time to sit down and write prose or write a scene, do some thinking, and that can be big, large picture, 1,000 feet up story planning, or it can be down in it, nitty gritty, and do some thinking about what's going to happen in that next chapter that you need to write. So, Wednesday is your writing day, right? It's Tuesday afternoon and you have 10 minutes free. Do some thinking about what needs to happen in that scene, or that, 8 chapters down the road. Use those blocks of time to plan ahead so that when you actually have your writing time, you're able to be productive. Again, see, like I was saying, story plan review. Okay, so if you've already done some planning, if you have a nice beat sheet, a breakdown of the scenes for your whole book or your story, review that. Can you improve it? Is the flow working? Is what you wrote yesterday still going to lead to what is supposed to happen later down the road? And at the same time, review your scene plan. So like I said, you have a scene coming up that you have to write tomorrow. Brainstorm on it, review it, because I want you to have done the planning ahead of time during these 10-minute spurts, so that when you sit down for 2 hours to write on those scheduled non-negotiable block times, you're able to make progress. And then, okay, you were looking for kind of specific exercises. I think writing down the page is a fantastic exercise, because the worst thing is that getting started, is getting geared up and really getting into a chapter and all that. And, the worst thing is staring at a blank page and having to come up with stuff. So writing down the page is a way that you can block out a scene really quickly. So say I know in this chapter, I look at my beat sheet, my story plan, it says my main character comes home, there is a killer hiding in her house, and he kills her, right? So writing down the page, I'm just gonna, oh god, I gotta get out of this here for a second. I'll show you guys what writing down the page looks like. Okay, so hopefully you can still see the screen, but it'd be something like this, right? So, I would just be like, she walks... sorry. She enters the house. It's dark. Spooky shadows. Oh, jeez. Okay, it's not letting me type here because I'm recording too much stuff at the same time stuff. But anyway, you would just... I'll say it out loud here. It would be like, she walks into the house. It's dark. She thinks she sees movement in the corner. Oh, it was just the cat. She walks into the dining room, goes to turn on the light. The light's not working. Ah, there's a killer in the corner. He attacks her. And you're just jotting down these little actions or feelings or whatever, and you're filling up that page really, really quickly, because it's a good way to get your mind going. It's sort of a planning process because you're jotting out the big moments in the scene, and then before you know it, you have a page full of writing, and now you just start revising. Now you start expanding those jotted notes out into sentences, and the sentences become paragraphs. And so I really like writing on the go. I think it's a excellent writing down the page. I think that's an excellent exercise. So I messed up my on the go slide here, but I think you guys were asking what are some good exercises and techniques and stuff for writing on the go. So First off, any exercise, right? I mean, writing on the go isn't any different from writing at home. And so what I think is most important is that you have the tools available to be able to write on the go. And as a writer, sometimes we like to get wrapped up in technology and stuff, and say, oh, I can't write, I don't have my laptop with me or whatever. But I mean, just keep a pen and paper with you in your backpack, in your pocket. You know, for a very long time, writers have been writing with a pen and a paper. Use that technology, and regardless of whether it's story planning or an exercise or writing down the page or whatever it is you want to do on the go, jot it in a notebook, in a moleskin or whatever, you know, get that down. And then, I mean, the thing that is great about technology, cloud computing allows you to write on the go now. And so save your manuscript to whatever, iCloud or OneDrive or Evernote or whatever your preferred cloud computing tech is, you know, so that when you are at a friend's house and you have 20 minutes to write while he goes and picks up a pizza or something, you can hop onto the cloud, work on your book a bit, right? So use that ability to access your manuscript wherever you are. Don't just have it saved on your home computer. You know, there's multiple reasons you don't want to just save it in one place on your computer, but have multiple versions and make sure one of them's in the cloud so you can grab it and work on your manuscript when you're on the go. And then the other one I had was just a voice recorder. I mean, I do so much writing just by talking into my phone, you know? Have a good voice recorder app and use it, whether you're waiting for the bus or you're, you know, in the back seat of a car or whatever, you know, and just talk into your phone, talk out a chapter, talk out some ideas that you're thinking about. I mean, before I write any of my books, I spend a lot of time just kind of talking to myself about theme and, you know, what sort of ideas are we going to be exploring in this novel. And most of the time it's just getting recorded onto a voice recorder, and then you can take that and transcribe it later. So that's kind of like my number one on the go tool, is just the smartphone. Oh, potluck. Okay, so this was what are some great resources where you can gain inspiration, new ideas, try out random exercises and stuff. And okay, we're writers, right? I'm a novelist. My recommendation for where you guys can find the best resources is books. Right? Like, I mean, yeah, there's some amazing websites and, you know, interactive this and that, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, you know, there's so many great books out there about writing. And that's where most of what, you know, I've taken a lot of online courses. You know, I read a lot of blog posts and all of that. But ultimately, most of the stuff that's really impacted my career and my writing and my way of thinking about art is in books. So, you know, just some of the ones that I think are great that I would recommend. Story Physics and Story Engineering by Larry Brooks are two really great books on story structure and on writing. They're kind of, I would call them advanced books. So if you're looking for something that, like, you know, the kind of maybe master's level of story craft, you know, dive into that. If you're looking for something a little more introductory level, there's other books you might want to look at. But if you guys, you know, you're in this writing group, clearly you're taking your writing pretty seriously, you can probably handle Larry Brooks' stuff. So take a look what he has to say, because he's got some great stuff. The Story Grid by Sean Coyne. I'm like 3/4 of the way through the book right now. It is incredible. He blogged the whole book, so if you go to storygrid.com, you can read the whole book there for free, but I would buy it. It's a beautiful big book. And Sean Coyne has he's an editor and a literary agent and a ghostwriter as well. But he's got, you know, he's David Mamet's agent, and he's all sorts of huge. He's a well-established, very successful editor in the literary field. And that book, I mean, if you read nothing else on writing, read The Story Grid, guys. It's spectacular. The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. He's actually a colleague of Sean Coyne's, and this idea of having to be in the right mood, or the idea of resistance, Pressfield calls it, which is that thing that stops us from doing the work that we know we need to do. The War of Art is all about how we break through that resistance and achieve what we know we can achieve with our writing. And so and not just writing, actually, a lot of entrepreneurs love that book, because a lot of the things that writers struggle with, entrepreneurs do as well. You know, it's about being self-motivated and about breaking through all of that doubt and self-doubt and all these things we deal with as writers. So I think The War of Art is spectacular. Plot and Structure by James Scott Bell is just a good, solid kind of story craft book that I think you guys will like. And then Sid Field is this is like an old school screenplay book, but the nice thing about it's actually called screenplay, but the nice thing about screenplay writing is that it's very structured. The format of cinema requires that writers and screenwriters be very focused in their story writing. For example, it's kind of assumed that 1 page of a screenplay will equal about 1 minute of screen time on a film. So most producers want a 120-page screenplay because that would be a 2-hour movie. And so this type of thinking is really, really useful, I think. And a lot of prose writers, you know, novel writers, they don't have that structure of like, oh, it needs to be 120 pages long. And that lack of structure is part of what makes writing a novel so difficult. And the more you can kind of focus in the window, the sandbox that you have to play in, the actually easier it becomes. So that's another great book. But I mean, there's so many great books on writing out there. So just grab them, read them, you know, be a student of the craft, you know, study the art form that you're hoping to master, and you know, just keep reading. So I think that's it. That's all the questions. All right. So thank you so much for having me, guys. Andre, I'm so sorry we had so much trouble getting a discussion together, but hopefully, you know, this will do, and hopefully you guys find it interesting. So if you want to learn about me, KevinTJohns.com, you can find out about my books, about my coaching and everything there. So I hope you guys found this useful. Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun. Bye, guys. Keep writing.